Hey guys, this is Tom from Numbers Game Lifestyle, and today we're going to be talking about hitting on women while they're at work. Hired guns, that's the PUA community likes to talk about. And if it's worth it, how you go about doing it with the highest odds of success. Comes from one of my subscribers asking about this. Let's have a look at the question. He says, can you make a video about whether or not it's worth it to try to pick up chicks at their jobs? For instance, waitresses, front desk clerks, food workers, cashiers, etc. And if it's worth it, how to go about it. Okay, that's exactly what we're going to go over today. First of all, I'm always going to recommend you shooting your shot, whatever the circumstances. Okay, because a lot of the times we have these ideas in our heads like, oh, it's gonna, so many things can go wrong by hitting on a girl, when there's very little that can go wrong that will cause you any kind of discomfort long term. So yes, go ahead, shoot your shots with girls at work, with girls that are working. There is no downside to this. However, there are some things to consider when you go about doing this. One, women at these jobs are there for customer service. They're there to make you feel good. Be really personable, be really warm. And in these situations, you're never quite sure, is she just being warm because I'm a potential customer and you can make money off me and she's supposed to be warm, she's supposed to be very, friendly towards me? Or is it any kind of genuine interest? Is she actually interested in me? And that's the gray area in this. This is why I kind of the only way you find out is by asking her out. Okay, because she can be the nicest girl, you'd be like, oh man, this girl really likes me. And it's like, no, she does that to every guy that comes into the door, every guy that comes through the door. And there's really no way of knowing genuine interest from, just customer service. So this is why, yes, in order to really get down to the nuts and bolts of this, you have to ask a woman out to see if that interest is actually there or not. She can just be like, no, I have a boyfriend, sorry. And yeah, you just have to expect that in these situations. Because there's no way of knowing whether this girl is super interested in you or it's just she's doing that to every other guy. So of course, what are the possible downsides? Nothing really. When you come to think of it, what could possibly go wrong by you asking a girl out and she's just like, sorry, no, I got a boyfriend. And that's that. It's not any different than any kind of other rejection. The only difference is this girl really seemed to like you. But again, this is she's paid to do that. So there's really no way of knowing whether it's genuine interest or just fakery. And you find that out by asking them out. Would you like to grab drinks or coffee sometime? And she's going to be like, no, I've got a boyfriend. Whatever she says, she'll just have some sort of rejection. And you have to expect that and be comfortable with that. But by all means, if you are in a situation, you like the looks of a girl, and you figure there's really no downside to this, I'm going to shoot my shot, go for it. How you go about, asking a woman out, hitting on a girl at work, it's going to depend on, where the girl works at. Waitresses, it can be a little bit different because usually it'll just be either you and her, she's going to be serving you your dinner. You can find out, get her name right off the bat. What is your name, by the way? Introduce yourself. I'm Tom. She'll say I'm Carrie or whatever, right? And right away you get to know, okay, we're on a first name basis. If I need her for something, and you say, hey Carrie, I need you for something. Can I get some water over here? And she's like, okay, Tom, no worries, got it. You introduce yourself right off the bat, and it becomes a more personable interaction during the whole, their whole time with her. And if you get the sense that she seems to like me, again, I don't have any clue whether this is genuine interest or not. Well, Carrie, it was a great meeting you. Would you like to grab drinks sometime? And you see what she says. Either she's going to say no, I've got a boyfriend, or, sorry. And okay, you're like, no worries. and you just tip where you normally would tip. You don't get butthurt about it, or you don't tip more hoping that she'll like you more. Just tip the normal amount, and like it never doesn't bother you at all. You don't go thinking about it like, oh, what did I do wrong? You just move on with your life. She's going to move on with hers, just like you are. So nothing is gained or lost in these situations. The potential for gain is a lot, but the potential for loss is minimal. She says she has a boyfriend. No big deal. Other situations, it can be a little bit different. A girl can be working a front desk at a gym or something like that. I've done that plenty of times. You want to approach the desk when there's not a bunch of other coworkers around. Discretion is the name of the game in these situations. You don't want all of her coworkers listening in on you two talking and you asking her out and be like, oh, like, word travels around. You want to avoid that at all costs. Make sure it's just you and her talking. It's going to happen really quick. Okay. You're just going to ask her a couple questions like, hey, whatever her name is, ask them how their weekend was. Like, hey, Jessica, would you like to grab drinks or frozen yogurt sometime? And you see what she says. She's either going to say, like, I got a boyfriend, or she's going to say, sure. In which case you exchange numbers. Like, it's not any different than hitting on women cold approach style completely out of the blue. The only difference is you want to make sure that coworkers aren't around, listening in, because that can affect her decision about like, oh, like, do I really want to say yes and have everybody know that I'm dating a guy from work? And, stuff can get messy that way. So yes, discretion is your friend in these situations. You want to approach when there's not a big lineup of customers right next to you as you're asking her out, and she's like, oh, like, okay, like, or like, no, I've got a boyfriend. It just makes things super awkward for her. So ideally, if you're hitting at a cashier or a girl at a front desk, you want to make sure that when you make your move, when you take your shot, not a lot of people are going to be buzzing around her, affecting her decision, being like, oh, what will other people think of me by seeing me saying yes? This isn't even actually that big of a deal. Like, women will often say yes, even despite there being like a lot of people around. I've done it plenty of times, like on bus stops and on trains when there's people all around us. So like, at the end of the day, it just seems like two friends catching up and like, yeah, let's go out sometime, and you grab her number. Yes, ideally you want like less of her coworkers around, the better. Because really, a girl isn't even going to care about like some random customer listening in on, your guys' conversation. But make it quick. Ask it one or two questions. Seems like she's like, fun to talk to. Then you ask her out. Would you like to grab drinks or, coffee sometime? And see what she says. You say yes, no. Quick, grab the phone number. Boom, boom, boom. Either write it down on a piece of paper or, type it into your phone really quick, and you're off. Okay, you're not going to waste a lot of time hanging around there, because the more time you spend talking, the higher the likelihood someone will just come right up in line, and now she has to act quickly. Now she has to like move you along because customers are waiting, line is piling up. So yes, speed is of the essence. Couple questions, ask her out, see what happens. Okay, so yes, I advise guys to take their shots wherever you find them, whether it's a hired gun situation where a woman is at work or anything like that. It's not a big deal. But what I want guys to avoid is specifically talking to and asking women out that are hired guns, that are working, because your odds of success are actually lower with these women, because they're already, they're paid to, make you like them. They're paid to be friendly to you. So you never know like if it's real interest or not until you ask them out. So that is why it's way easier just to start a conversation with a completely random girl that's not at work, not doing customer service, not doing waiting on tables or anything, because you'll know after a few questions whether she's interested or not. And it's genuine interest if she's like really into you, like she's really vibing with you. She's really investing in the answers that she's giving you. So this is why, like, yeah, by all means, take your shots with women at that are working and everything, but don't limit yourself to these situations. A lot of guys get stuck on like, oh, they only hit on waitresses because like it kind of gives them confidence that the woman likes them. So it kind of gives them the ability to ask them out because man, she seems like she's really into me. I got to shoot my shot. You can do the exact same thing with any woman you see. Doesn't have to be like a waitress or anything like that. And there's high odds of it going somewhere. Whereas let's face it, a waitress probably has a boyfriend. She's been with, hit on by a lot of men. Maybe she had a boyfriend even before she got the job, or she got a boyfriend while she got the job. There's a lot of guys shooting their shots at her. So yes, maybe you capitalize on a situation where you happen to be the right guy that pops up at the right time, but the odds are low. When you go to like another girl that could have like way less options, way fewer men hitting on her, and suddenly your odds go up, your odds compound because there's less competition. But again, don't really think about that. I'm only talking to guys that are like, they only want to hit on girls that are at work because they feel confident in that situation because the woman is talking to them and giving them attention. But again, she's paid to do that. Okay? Why not do the exact same thing with a random woman, a random girl that is not paid to be nice to you? And you'll see a drastic difference. You'll see women that just like could take it or leave it with you, or you'll see women that just open right up and they're like really excited that you took the time to start a conversation with them. And those are the women that you're after. Those are the women that you want to ask out. Okay? So yes, by all means, go shoot your shot. Discretion is the name of the game in these situations. Just make it super low key, super quick, ask a couple of questions and then ask her out. And do it quickly because you never know. Coworker comes in, another customer comes in and completely botches your whole, interaction. Okay, so move really quickly. This will force you to move quickly, just like transit game will, because like you never know when another bus or a train is gonna pop up and she has to leave. You have to move very quickly in these situations. So that is a good thing about this thing too, is you're forced to move quickly. Anyways, guys, that's the video. If you need help doing this, approaching women, approaching random women, approaching women that are working, in any situation, really, there is no downsides to this, okay? We all think about these, like, scenarios about our reputation is going to get ruined and we're going to be arrested. Everybody's going to know that I got rejected. Everybody's going to know. Guys, you should see me at my gym. Like, there was a point in time that, like, I had pretty much hit on, like, every girl at the front desk because they're all, like, fairly attractive and there's new ones coming in all the time. They couldn't care less. They all, like, some of the girls found me out after the fact. They're like, oh, this guy? Let me like work out around him and see if he hits on me. Okay, this is why like there is no really downside to this. As long as you do this in a normal way, whether you could like, you're not stalking these women, you're not hounding these women, you're just asking them a couple questions, asking them out, and if they say no, got a boyfriend, you're just like, cool, see you later. There is no downsides. The worst thing you'll get is a girl saying like, not interested. I don't think I've ever heard a woman say it, not interested. It's usually just, I have a boyfriend, or no, sorry. Okay, that is the worst that you're going to get. So by all means, take your shots wherever you can get them. Anyways, guys, that's the video. If you need help doing this, there's coaching links down below. Thank you for watching.